part of the Guyana Shield, Guyana's forests hold the key to the country's future and the development of a green economy. The country must therefore seek to employ strategies and policies that will ensure adequate conservation and sustainable use of our natural resources. On this episode of Government in Action, we explore the potential of the forestry sector and programs that are being put in place to ensure that our forests are utilized in a manner that can uphold the government's aim of sustainable development. The Guyana Shield stands as one of the largest blocks of tropical forests on the planet and is one of the most biologically rich and diverse in the world. Guyana, therefore, shares in the rich biodiversity of the Shield, which houses a vast amount of rare and unique species of flora and fauna.
We have only one world, and the world has only one Guyana Shield. We have a responsibility as the trustees of the Guyana Shield, and that responsibility imposes on us the duty to protect and preserve our unique patrimony.
The push towards sustainable development, while the country also seeks to conserve its forests, has been among the President's key policies since taking up office. Guyana was among 196 parties to sign on to the Paris Agreement on climate change in April this year. The Paris Agreement is one which falls within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It deals with the mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as adaptations and financing needed to tackle climate change beginning in the year 2020. At the signing ceremony in New York, President Granger said that Guyana will play its part by bringing 2 million hectares of forest under conservation. The President also pledged to improve the country's timber monitoring and increase value-added activities in the forestry sector so as to augment carbon storage in long-use wood products. The responsibility for the sustainable development of Guyana's forestry sector falls under the purview of the Guyana Forestry Commission, which governs the sustainable management of economic, environmental and social forestry practices. Commissioner of the GFC, Mr. James Singh, said that the Commission has been busy with several projects aimed at achieving the President's vision.
Well, if we look at the forestry sector from the process of forest allocation, forest resource allocation, then forest harvesting, conversion or processing, export, and marketing. We are basically targeting those focal areas. And the work plan of the GFC is normally prepared in a very consultative manner with all our divisions being involved from the very bottom to the top. And we also include, of course, the board in our planning and the ministry. Why we include the board in the ministry? Because we would have put forward the operational issues, but they will also ensure that the policy issues are addressed. It's in keeping with government policy and national policy, and that it also is synergistic with the other land use agencies.
One of the main priorities of the Commission, he said, is bringing to fruition the promise of increased value-added production. Minister of Natural Resources, Mr. Raphael Trotman, has also acknowledged the need for the development of the value-added industry within the forestry sector, stating that there is great earning potential for the country in that regard.
We are doing very well. I wouldn't just say well, because we are still below our what is known as the annual allowable cut. We are doing well because we are not cutting as many. But what we'd like to see is value added. Don't just cut our logs and take them out. We'd like to see more factories being opened here, people converting logs to furniture, to plywood, and so that we earn more that way rather than just exporting a log.
Among its many efforts, the GFC will seek to establish a training school which will look at enhancing practical, marketing and entrepreneurial skills for loggers. The GFC has also drafted a log export policy, which has been reviewed by several stakeholders, including the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association and the Forest Products Association. Mr. Singh said that the policy will aid in ensuring restrictions are placed on species that are in high demand for local manufacturers. This will help to ensure that sufficient raw material for manufacturers is available so that they can enter into the value-added industry. He said that the Commission will now look to have meetings with these stakeholders so as to discuss their concerns. Some of the concerns which have surrounded the policy include the contention that the restriction of exports can affect the loggers' livelihoods.
We don't want to seem to be dictating, but at the same time, government has a policy. So whatever we come up with has to be something that is acceptable to both parties. To the government, which is pushing for added value activities, and if that is in kind of direct conflict with the exportation of logs. But then the loggers also have their side of the story, and we have to strike a balance.
To help promote value added production, the GFC is also looking to encourage the expansion of timber species used on the market. Though Guyana has almost 1,000 species of trees, less than 50 are being used commercially. Moreover, the country can afford to produce 1.6 million cubic meters of wood annually while still committing to its sustainable development goals. Yet, only 500,000 cubic meters are being produced, Mr. Singh reported. Seeing value-added production as a key success factor for the future of the forestry sector, the GFC's focus on pushing this aspect of the industry therefore encompasses several projects. Head of the Planning and Development Division, Ms. Pradeepa Bolanath, said that the division, which has on its list of responsibilities the economic planning and forecasting of the forestry sector, is currently facilitating the conversation between the government and the private sector regarding the move toward value added.
Just recently, we have been working with the Project Management Office under the Ministry of Presidency to explore ways in which we can possibly access some of the resources that would have come through the Guyana-Norway Agreement for the push for 3 key private sector initiatives that would help to boost added value activities. So we worked with the Forest Products Association in this instance in drafting the project document, the project concept, and we've been working as of now informally, but hopefully at least one of those ideas can reach a stage where there might be some assurance of moving to the next level, and then we can continue to see those projects through. So that is one way in which we do to try to align parties. So if we see that there is a certain pocket of money that could be used to advance a value-added project, we try to bring those parties together. However, there are some things that we do directly. So the GFC has an arm called the Forest Products Development and Marketing Council that is directly responsible for working with industry stakeholders in trying to find the right markets for the right products and to share market intelligence where this might help to develop and grow markets along the value chain. So PDD is instrumental in trying to have programs, and we've done quite well over the past few years in bringing those synergies between the Marketing Council and the forest sector. There is a lot more that needs to be done though, and I think of all the areas that we have worked on over the years, this is the one that perhaps needs the most attention in moving forward.
On the other side of the coin is the role of Guyana's forests in the fight against climate change. Therefore, advancing the Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation in Developing Countries program, RED+, is another main focus of the GFC.
So about 6 years ago, the PDD has been coordinating along with the other divisions of GFC the work of the RED Secretariat, which was established to really start up activities that are focused on fulfilling the main mandates in terms of reporting on deforestation and forest degradation, and also working on some of the aspects under the Guyana-Norway Agreement. We have been one of the key agencies working with the Office of Climate Change in terms of advancing that program, and I see that as we go into a new program, hopefully a new phase of development of RED+, that we can also continue that kind of cross-sectoral collaboration, both with other government agencies but also with the private sector. So that has been one of the fairly newer areas of our work, but one that I think has seen a lot of innovation, a lot of pioneering thinking, and one that really enables us to give a large amount of support to the climate change program of Guyana.
Most importantly, the balance of increased timber production while managing deforestation must be kept as a key priority. But sustainable management in this regard is a goal that is more than achievable for Guyana.
The deforestation rate of Guyana has been scientifically calculated using 5-meter satellite imagery over the entire country as being 0.065%. That is one of the lowest, if not the lowest in the world. So we have been able to do our forestry activities, our mining activities, agriculture, and all the expansion that comes with it, and yet maintain a very low rate of deforestation. So that tells you about the potential of the forestry sector.
With this much room to maneuver and expand, the future for Guyana's forestry sector looks bright, Mr. Singh said. And with the right developments, the industry has the potential to contribute an additional 6% to the country's gross domestic product.
Right now, export values of forestry products would be about, on an average, probably $45 million US. And yearly production will be about 450,000 cubic meters. The sector employs 26,000 people right now. Just imagine if we triple that.
Outside of these major projects, the GFC's mandate also seeks to not only work with loggers in an aim to solve their problems, but to also work with community associations by granting concessions to persons within communities in the forested areas so as to aid in the economic livelihood. The Commission also grants and monitors small, medium, and large forestry concessions, conducts studies, and collects data, all with the aim of ensuring the country's forest resources are effectively and conservatively managed. Focus on marketing, shipping, and the establishment of a consolidated log yard to satisfy lumber demand are all high on the Commission's agenda. And these all form part of government's push to increase production in an aim to expand the forestry sector. This is Jasmine Payne. Thank you for joining us.